A real review of the Wimbledon queue. So if you weren't lucky enough to get a ticket in the ballot this year, or gifted one like some unbearable influencers, the only other way you can have a chance of getting in is by joining the famous Wimbledon queue. So before joining it, I did a little bit of research and found out that the first 1,500 people get tickets to either centre court, court 1 or court 2, and anyone after that gets ground only tickets to the outside courts, so the earlier you get there the better. I had a 2-hour drive, so decided to leave my house at 1:45am, parked up, then managed to join the queue at 3:50. The good thing about it is as you arrive you get a queue ticket with your place on, so it does make it nice and fair that idiots aren't going to roll up later and join their mates in front of you. Some people do decide to camp out overnight, but in previous years to this, if you do get here by 4am, you're likely going to be in the first 1,500 and get a good court. So as they handed me my ticket, I was full of hope and excited. I was here nice and early and before any of the first trains. Ticket number 2,900. Although disappointed, all hope is not lost, as once you're in you can join a resale queue for the main courts, but more on that later. Back to this queue. So this was my pathetic little spot from 3:50 to about 9am, which is when you start moving down towards the gate. You are allowed to leave the queue for half an hour to go to the loo and get food. And being in Wimbledon, there was a lot of, you stay here and I'll nip to Gales and get coffee. Ugh. As it got to about 6am, this place was absolutely rammed. People were everywhere. Champagne corks were popping and groups were having a laugh. But when I say having a laugh, it was 6am and none of it was funny to me. All I could hear was, ah ha ha ha, mate, absolute banter. You know the type. This queue is definitely what I'd imagine a posh version of Glastonbury would be like. The 5-hour mark had come up now, and as it got to about 9am, we started moving. But we ended up just winding around the field a bit and then queuing again for another 45 minutes, until we got going again, where we made our way through the first gates. You think at this point that you're going to be in a minute, but you're not. You keep queuing and queuing until your last opportunity to drop your bags off, or in other words, a camping chair graveyard if you can't be asked to pay. But just after that, you finally made it to get your ticket. Yeah, nothing was left, so we all got ground only passes for 30 quid. But like I said, all hope is not lost, and on to the next queue now for the resale. Here they scan your code and you're now on a wait list for if anyone doesn't turn up. I was in pretty early, so I was thinking I've got a good chance here. Number 1,970. There's no way that's going to happen. But look, I'm in Wimbledon. You never know, so I'm going to go and enjoy the day. So on to the next queue to actually get in Wimbledon. This was about another half hour that just wound its way around the field, but then you're through the gates and actually in. At this point it was 11am, so from joining the queue to getting in was 7 hours 10 minutes. So was it worth it? I thought I'd get in the spirit and got some strawberries and cream for £2.70, which were actually alright and wildly felt like a bargain for this place. But I then did find the ultimate final boss rip-off gift shop. The prices here make the Paddington experience look cheap. I then started walking around through the massive crowds, trying to find a seat on any court. There were more queues for every single one, and I'm not sure how many people they let in the end, but it's definitely too many. I did manage to watch a few matches on court 15, but by mid-afternoon and after a 1:30am start, my head was going and I was starting to fall asleep. I tried to go for a snooze on Henman Hill, but even that you could hardly see a spare blade of grass to sit down on. I did keep checking, but my ticket resale number never got below 1,000, so I ended up leaving about 7pm. Would I try the famous Wimbledon queue again? Absolutely not. See you next time.